Hello, Ade.
Hello, Jia. How are you?
I'm good. Hello, how are you?
Uh,
How's your Saturday going?
yeah, it's warm and sunny, and it's a bit cloudy here, actually. How about you? How's the
Nice,
weather in
nice.
Singapore?
Yeah, it's sunny as well. Haven't been raining for a pretty long time. Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, thank you everyone for joining us today on a Saturday, wherever you are, whether you are based in Indonesia or joining us from Singapore. And one of our speaker, Jaya, is actually based all the way in LA. Yeah, and we hope you are having a great day. And I'm Jiaxing from the Google Developers Relations team. And this is Ade from Jakarta Machine Learning. Before we begin
Hi.
today's session, hello. Yeah, before we begin today's session, let me just share a little bit about what Google Developer Space does for those of you who are new. So let me just add my screen. Yep. So we are home for developers and startups, and we connect developers and startups from across the region to learn and connect with one another. So we have a physical space in the Google Singapore office, but due to COVID, I think everyone knows all the events have gone online. Yeah, and we regularly host online events with both the developer and startup communities. And today we are super excited to be collaborating with Jakarta Machine Learning for the first time. And this series is actually part of our International Women's Day series. And we are collaborating with a total of, we have a total of 9 events from different, across different communities in Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia. And this is the first weekend that is happening, and we have events all the way till April next month. So if you want to find out more about the events that are happening, you can head over to the link in the slide, Google/IWD 2021. And yeah, so for today, our session, we are going to be talking about natural language processing, how it's being used for business and social impact. And we have 3 amazing women speakers joining us. And later on, after this session, we have another one as well, organized by Women Who Code Kuala Lumpur, who will be sharing about upskilling tips for developers and how to ace data science interviews. So do join us if you can. And lastly, do stay connected with us at Google Developer Space as well. You can find us on all our different social channels, our website, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Yep. And yeah, over to you, Ade, to share more about today's session.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity, Jia. Let me share my slides first. Okay. Okay. Okay, so thank you, Jia, for the opportunity. First of all, my name is Ade, Media and PR from Jakarta Machine Learning. Thank you for tuning in. Well, first of all, I would like to say very huge thank you to Google Developer Space Singapore, who has made this session possible. So this is my turn now to introduce you to Jakarta Machine Learning. So what is Jakarta Machine Learning? Well, we are a Jakarta-based community dedicated to connecting Indonesian talents to the world. Our member is ranging from data scientists to consultants to university students. Well, although the name consists of Jakarta, we also have members who are currently living in Singapore. So geographical location is not a problem if you really want to join us. Our mission and our visions are, we are aiming to democratizing machine learning knowledge, and our mission is to connect and develop and inspire. Well, these are what we have done so far. We have weekly talk every Saturday with various range of topic, from data science to Internet of Things, even reinforcement learning. Uh, well, we have dedicated November 2020 to women in data. Thus, we had all speakers are women in this particular month. Well, we do have a collaboration with TensorFlow Everywhere in February 2021. And We also have a short bootcamp on reinforcement learning. This is a collaboration with AWS Deep Racer with that prepare the participants to compete in AWS Deep Racer League. This is our team, the people behind Jakarta Machine Learning who have worked very hard to ensure its sustainability. Kudos to you all. Well, we recently have been joined by one new member, Irma. Thank you for joining our team. And you might know us how to join. Well, visit our webpage, jakartamissionlearning.com, and click join us. Well, put your data there and you will receive an invitation to select discussions. What we do in select discussions, well, we have several channels that is focused on certain things. First, we have competition channel where you can discuss competition and you can even hire people to join your team in a competition. Secondly, we have Python channel where you can discuss a problem when you have encountered when developing machine learning model. And we have machine learning channel, of course, when you can discuss machine learning model there. So here are our social medias. Please hit us up in Instagram. It's Jakarta Machine Learning, and we have also LinkedIn page, Jakarta Machine Learning JML. And you can also email us to admin@jakartamachineLearning.com. Oh, in addition, we have our GitHub page where we collect our when we formulated curricula on artificial intelligence. Well, unfortunately, it's only in Indonesian as of now, but I think it's very good idea to provide the curricula in English. Well, we'll see about that. Thank you. That is the short introduction about Jakarta Machine Learning. Okay, thank you. So I think it's best time to move on to our session. So each year, March the 8th is celebrated as International Women's Day, a global day to celebrate the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. The day also marks a call to action for accelerating gender parity. Significant activity is witnessed worldwide as groups come together to celebrate women's achievements or rally for women's equality. There are several things to celebrate in International Women's Day. In International Women's Day, the most important days of the year to celebrate women's achievements, raise awareness about women's equality, lobby for accelerated gender parity, and fundraise for female-focused charity. So, in honor of the occasion, we have a session in a panel discussion setting where we have three wonderful women who will share their respective experience, challenge, and achievement in their journey in data. So the session will be broken down in three segments. Let me share the slide first so it will be easier for you to follow. Okay, today's agenda. The session will be broken down into three separate segments. The first segment will be introduction, where our speakers can introduce their educational background, their start in their career, and the challenge they have encountered during their journey in data. And we will move on to second segment where we will have a discussion on natural language processing for business and social impact. And the third session where you, the participants, can ask questions via Slido. You can go to slido.com and insert this one, event ID 89394, and put your question there. Don't forget to add your name there so we can address this personally to you. Or you can put your question in YouTube comments. We will also read your question there. So without further ado, let's please welcome Jaya Ravi, Jaya Rajwani, Ravi Sveta, and Hapsari Muthi Amira. We will proceed to segment one. Hello, good morning, Jaya, Ravi, and Happy, let's start the session.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? It's warm here in Jakarta. Where are you right now, Ravi?
In Singapore, yes, Jason said it hasn't rained in many days.
Okay.
Just
How about you, Happy? Are you also from Jakarta?
I work in Jakarta, but right now I'm in Bandung for holiday
Oh,
purposes. Yeah, but
okay.
Wow,
last
How's the
night
weather
nice.
in Bandung?
it was raining last night, so it's a bit chilly today.
Okay, don't forget to wear your jacket then. Hello,
Yeah.
Jaya. You are you're broadcasting all the way from LA, right?
Yeah, so I'm right now in LA, in
Hmm?
California. And about the weather, it's been raining for the last few days and getting pretty chilly here.
Oh, well, that's pity because it should be always sunny in California, right?
Yeah, so it was sunny for a couple of days and then it started raining. So these days the weather is very nice and cold.
Okay. Thank you. So let's proceed to segment one, where every speaker introduce their yourself. Let's start maybe with Ravi.
all right,
Okay, Ravi, you can start.
sure. Hi everyone. I'm Ravi Sveta from Singapore, and yeah, I graduated in 2019 from my degree in computer engineering at the National University of Singapore, and my classmates and I were in the fortunate position of our university having invested in our startup, which is to which is education startup. Yeah, and our motivation was that yeah, there are a lot of emerging technologies, and we keep hearing about these, but we don't we didn't come across them in our own learning journeys, and we still don't see them being implemented for the kids that are in the system today. So we started out doing something that we had the skills for with our degree, which was using data driven techniques to match one to one private tutors who wanted to teach. And they were typically undergrad tutors who submitted their profiles to us, and we matched them with primary school students or secondary school students. And yeah, so that was our first idea, and I mean the product is still running, but we decided to pivot to a new product, which uses NLP and data analytics to um, provide more information and analysis for teachers about their students, and also to create a personalized roadmap for students based on their weaknesses. So right now we're doing science, and we are slowly shifting to English. Yep. So yeah, just to speak a bit more about how we've progressed in the COVID time. COVID was actually a driving force in pushing more students in Singapore to online education. And teachers realized that it was actually quite useful to have a lot of this info digitized, like questions and the students' record of answers, and also, of course, video call based learning. So, yeah, that further validated that we were going in the right direction, because now we had more access to digitized data in order to run our various AI models, and especially in NLP. Uh, yeah. Yeah, that's it for me. Well,
Okay, thank you for the introduction, Rafi. It's quite interesting about what you done in the project. So let's proceed to the second speakers. Let's welcome Mbak Happy to the stage.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Hapsari Muthi Amira, but you can just call me Happy. So I was graduated from Institute Technology in Bandung as information system student. And the first time I encountered NLP was during my thesis, actually. So I was working on a very simple order management system. So back then in 2011 and 2012, there's not so many NLP in Indonesia, right? So we have this idea of making very simple.
I think there is a technical problem. So can we start again, Mbak Happy?
Hi, hello. Sorry, there's a bit technical problem. So yeah, where did I miss it? Yeah, okay. So basically, when I have this thesis on my bachelor degree, I have this very simple order management system using NLP in Indonesia. Yeah, back then it was not that much. There's not much library in Indonesia back then. So yeah, we kind of have like get several library that is already available back then. And when I was graduated, I don't enroll to data immediately. So at first, I have this idea to build a startup with my team. So instead of going to data first, we went to build a game startup back then. And then it went on until like I'm joining to my master degree. And then I understand during my master degree, I'm taking a marketing class where we talk a lot about how to track data and stuff, and this is where I get my interest to data basically. So when that time comes when I join the marketing class, and then I have this game startup, I have this idea of joining a game company as a data analyst. So that's where my journey starts in data career. It was the company was Touch 10 Games. It was in Jakarta based. They're focusing a lot on mobile games. But that's where I finally understand like what's the interesting thing about data. Basically, like there's a lot of data and you can analyze it, and you can also make a recommendation system out of it. So one of the project that I do back then was about making a recommendation system. So there's a lot of mobile game created by Touch 10 Games back then, and they want to build some kind of like connection within the games. So one of the connection is making some kind of system where you can reward the users using offline gifts, basically offline gifts, and you can redeem it based on your game usage. Basically, like the more you play the game, the more vouchers or the more points you get, and that points you can redeem it with some kind of offline gifts. But not a lot of people actually understand it, like and people are not encouraged to redeem their points. So that's where my role began basically. So I'm making some very simple recommendation system back then, like and then I attract users to redeem their points basically within the game to offline gifts. And then I figure out I want to understand more about data back then. So then I moved to Gojek as a BI manager back then. I was joining transport team, and then now moving to GoPlay team. I think it's been just a very long time, since I started out in game industry. So it's kind of natural to me to want to go back to entertainment industry. So I joined to GoPlay back then. And now currently I'm serving as head of data in GoPlay that basically manage day-to-day things from data, from how you transfer data from back-end to analyst side, to data science side, and then also serving the data to stakeholders and present it to them, like how to make actionable insights from the data, and also if we are going to make some models or recommendations, that's also my role in there. Okay. I think that's all from me.
Okay, thank you for the introduction, Mbak Happy. What an interesting journey. You started from game developers to now as head of data. Oh, that's amazing. So we can proceed to the next speaker. Please welcome Jaya to the stage.
Sorry. Can you see my slide?
No. Oh yeah, here we are. So
Hi,
that was why.
everyone. This is just for me to remember all my introduction. So I am Jaya, and I am a data scientist, and I'm a social entrepreneur. Currently, I'm a Fulbright scholar, and I'm doing my master's in artificial intelligence from the University of Southern California. That's why I'm in LA. So back in 2017, like I did my bachelor's degree from Pakistan, from NED University of Engineering and Technology. And when I was studying, so when I wanted to do computer science and engineering, I had a lot of questions around me that why would you, being a girl, want to do computer engineering? Like, shouldn't you being like, doing medicine? And like, why do you want to join a man's field? And I stood up to it and I was like, I like math, I like computers, I want to join it. And when I joined technology industry and like when I started studying, I realized that there was a lot of bias. And although there were so many women in my class, we still got these comments like, oh, you're not going to pursue it. You're just here for fun, or you're not going to be pursuing it professionally. When I saw like on internships and in companies, and I read upon a lot, so I realized there was a lot of bias in the industry as well. So, as an advocate to support women in technology and data science and STEM, I started, working towards these societies, and I joined and led IEEE Women in Engineering for a very long time, and I would. Encourage women to take workshops and do panels and do online trainings. And we used to do hackathons. And, in all of this, I realized that more and more technology was growing. More and more women had imposter syndrome that were not good enough. So I realized that, in order to have a good impact around me, I should start working. So I started researching and joined labs. And at that time, I was working with a civic innovation lab. And so I was creating a data science based project where I would get all the data from internet about NGOs working in my city and how would I use machine learning to connect them. And that is the first time I realized, oh, computer science and technology can be used to create social impact. It's not just philanthropy that we would do, and that can create impact. With technology, we can also do impact. So I joined an organization called Raj after my graduation, and there we were using NLP-based chatbot to teach young girls about their health and that like their health and hygiene. And we started taking this chatbot to rural areas and deploying it in schools, in government schools, in nonprofit schools. And at that time, I got a lot of positive feedback that how technology and NLP can be used for social impact. I started reading upon it more, and I realized there's much more to it than just creating one project. So I applied for a Fulbright scholarship to learn more about how we could use AI for social impact. And I got in, and currently I'm working on a couple of projects. One of them involves, so when COVID started, I also realized that there was a lot of scope for technology to be used around here. So recently I started working on a project hopefully as a startup, where we're using uh, an application where a user can log in and figure out the risk to get a disease, an infectious disease like COVID, and understand their insurance plan to, like, by parsing it using NLP, to figure out where they can go for medical help. And that's what we're working on currently. And Yeah, and I'm also volunteering with an organization called DataKind, which is also a data science for social good organization, and they have various projects which involves improving the lives of homeless people, and improving the like decreasing the crime rate using data science, getting more internet connectivity to people using data science, and much more. So this is a little bit about myself, and I'm really happy to be a part of this panel and share some of my more experiences with you in the upcoming sessions.
Okay, thank you for the introduction, Jaya. That is interesting. How to use NLP to help people. Well, now that we have known a little about each of our speakers, I think it's a good time to proceed to the next segment where we can go deeper on understanding what they have done and what they will do in the second segment. In this segment, I will not be alone. I will join it by Ricky, a strategic partnership of Jakarta Machine Learning. So let's welcome Ricky, Jaya, Ravi, and Mbak Happy to the stage. Okay, hello everyone. Hello Mas Ricky.
Hi.
Mas,
Hello, thank you again for setting up time to meet us today. Wow, I'm the only guy today, huh? So I guess we can start the second segment. Maybe we can divide it to more technical questions and also about social questions. I think the one that most intriguing for me from Jaya when you said that, oh, you as a woman, you feel like a lot of people kind of look down on you because of your gender. So I'm just curious, is this something that all the three of you or four of you, including Bade, also feels like you have to work twice as hard as your male counterpart in progressing into the tech world or data world? Is that still something that you strongly feel? Maybe start with Jaya.
Sure. Um, I strongly feel like that things are changing, but at the same time, they're changing very slowly. So, being a female entrepreneur as well, and as a woman in technology, I've seen, I've experienced that firsthand, and I've seen my female, colleagues working harder than our male counterparts to get to a place where they can like get more easily, I would say. I mean, like for example, if there's an opportunity, I'll have to do much more work to get the same opportunity as a person I know who is like, who has a job. So, like, especially when it comes to about funding opportunities, about leadership roles, about management roles, there is, I would say, still some bias. I mean, things are changing, but yes, I feel that there is bias.
Yeah. How about you, Mbak Epi? You started with the gaming industry, right? Which is really known for mostly male dominant, right? Either the player,
Yep.
the management, or even the developer. I think that's even more than the data. I feel like, right? But nowadays it's different because a lot of girl gamers that quite known already. But when you started, do you feel that kind of feeling also, like you have to work or you have to prove yourself every single day, pretty much?
I think when I started out, it's still a very small startup, but there's a time when I need to connect to investors and do some uh, shows, and where they kind of like think that I'm just a friend of the startup guys. Like, okay, I'm not their friend. Like, I'm also working on the same startup. So that's kind of a glimpse that I get. Like, it's kind of like almost all guys like back then for the game developer industry. But yeah, as you mentioned as well, like right now there's a lot of game girl streamers like in the game itself, so it's not that common. Like right now I think it's a bit changing also in game, but in the industry itself also there's also common misperception where I encountered a person like in online and they mention me as he or him. Like, no, I'm a she. Regardless. Yeah, there's also that. So yeah, it's okay, but yeah, you just need to talk to them and tell them that it's our work actually, not the guy's work. But yeah, I think in Gojek, if you want to know as well, so there's a lot of initiatives. So I also make an initiative in Gojek back then and in Go Motherhood. So there's not a lot of like when people are going to do like, so let's say, so you're just having a labor, right? And then you go back to office and then you need to do like pumping for the milk for the babies. So it's not common for you to encounter such things within an office, right? So most of the times in other office, when I heard from my friends, they go to toilet or like go, they only can do it within their rest time, like, so it's not comfortable, I can say. But yeah, I think there's a lot of changes right now has been made. Like there's a lot of initiations where people can have pumping room, like, but yeah, I think it's slowly like some companies already making it, like some companies are not. So like Gojek is also making that one, and that's where I also make this Go Motherhood initiation, where people can go into the same room within pumping room and they can share the same stories, like your pumping stories within Gojek, let's say. Because let's face it, yeah, we are busy moms, and you always have a meetings within the office, and sometimes you cannot run into the pumping room, right? So it's hard. Like sometimes you just need to pumping within the meeting itself, and you will see eyes are looking at you like, what are you doing? So something like that, yeah. It's you, yeah, at that time. So we also make this idea where people can share freely about their emotions or what they feel about their college, seeing them to do pumping within meeting rooms and stuff, and we try to normalize it. So we encourage ourselves to do the pumping within meeting room as long as you wear a cover, right? So it's like, it's okay, you can talk to them like, this is this pumping device that's helping me to help me feed my babies while I'm not with them, and so on and so on. Yeah.
Sure, sure. That's a really interesting subject, I think, right? So we going to go back to that social matter in the later on, probably, yeah. Do you feel the same, Rafi? Or you are a little bit? I think you're the youngest, right? Or you are too young to.
Oh, uh, yeah, perhaps. I haven't. I've mostly worked and interned at startups, including my own. I did feel a bit discomfort when I saw that my cohort in engineering was only about 20% women. Yeah, it's very male-dominated space. But I think I share what Jaya has spoken about, which is in South Asian countries, if you're a high achiever and female, you go for medicine, and if you're male, you go for engineering. I don't know why it's gendered like that. Yeah, I've heard that. But luckily, my mother did her master's in computer science back in the 80s, so I was shielded a lot. And seeing her example, it was a dose of courage despite all the comments. So I think having women in positions of leadership in tech is really powerful, because even if you hear comments like that, having this very strong counter example helps me dismiss it and let me go forward to what I actually want to do. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So talking about your company, what I know that's doing AI for education, right, Rafi? Can you elaborate a little bit, like how do you use NLP for it? What kind of method, NLP method that you use for your company?
So in education, there's several ways, several use cases, but we started out um, with just trying to improve teacher efficiency by having an AI assistant to help them grade open-ended answers by students. So a lot of online learning platforms only offer multiple choice because that's so easy to grade and so easy to analyze. But we've the tutors we spoken to say that they learn a lot about the students' misconceptions from grading the open-ended answers about one or two sentences. So we wanted to help them make that process more efficient by having an AI assistant suggest to them um, what part of the answer seems to not match the model scheme or the marking scheme, and what that might indicate about what they've missed in according to hitting the learning objective for that topic. So this requires a lot of data tagging, very detailed marking scheme that we format. So the NLP technique we use to compare the marking scheme and the student open-ended answers is mostly related to text similarity, semantic analysis. Um, Sorry, not semantic, textual similarity analysis. And our initial prototype was using Google's BERT. And yeah, we're very grateful for the democratization of such powerful NLP models for hobbyists and on the open source community. And then we built upon it with more sophisticated data tagging and by combining with uh, more advanced methods. Um, so that's one aspect of using NLP, and we're currently trialing it with teachers. But yeah, one challenge with having teachers use an NLP assistant is that they're reluctant to do this for high stakes exams. So they'll only do this, they'll only rely on the assistant for formative assessments like homework, which are not so high stake. And we understand, yeah, that initially they might have a hesitation. Yeah. Did that answer the question?
Yeah,
Or,
yeah, definitely,
okay.
definitely. Like, how about you, Jaya? Do you have any specific NLP method that you use for social impact, or some cool project that you can share with us?
Sure. So I could share a couple of examples as well as some projects that I worked on. Um, just a second. Let me. Can you see the screen?
Not yet.
You can? Okay,
Yeah, there
perfect.
you go.
So, NLP can be used for social impact in a lot of ways. Like there are a lot of different branches to it that go like sentiment analysis and just like Ravi mentioned, like language translation, language understanding, textual speech, and some of my very favorite examples and very favorite like examples on the internet are using natural language processing and text understanding to understand news articles or medical reports, and doing sentiment analysis for understanding Twitter tweets and making sense out of it. And one of my most favorite example is Crisis Text Line. So Crisis Text Line is actually a startup. They use they use natural language processing on text messages to understand and help teens who are in crisis. So they use a lot of words and word understanding and see if a teen, on the basis of the texts, they try to understand if a teen is in problem, and then they send help to them via online or offline sessions. So that these are some of my favorite examples of how NLP can be used for social impact. Some of my work includes so I work at Oratraj, and we had a chatbot called Raji. And Raji basically would answer questions about health, and our specific health topic was menstrual hygiene. And reproductive health in Pakistan is something that is very taboo. We don't talk about it. So we realized that young girls were very shy to talk about their reproductive health, but it was very important for them to understand, not only understand their health, but also know how to have a good hygiene. So we created this chatbot called Raji, and Raji would answer questions using images, videos, and GIFs. So if someone's asking, like, okay, Raji, what do you think are good menstrual health practices? And she would answer like in a very fun way, in a cartoonic way, which a girl can not only understand but also enjoy. And we had like voice and text both in it, but we were actually using Google Dialogflow for the backend model, and it was just take the user's question and find the response to it and just give it back to the user. And it was like on the basis of a button, so one does not have to type much, because obviously when it comes to typing such hard questions, people still shy away and they're not comfortable typing those questions. Um, so that's a great experience that I had, where we used NLP for uh, social impact. And then obviously there's also a lot of breakdowns to it. Like for example, if you're using an open-ended chat, if you're using a closed-ended chat, what sort of language are you using it in? What sort of voice do you have in it? So we had so many challenges when we had open-ended questions. Our chatbot would fail like within less than a minute, because if there is a hi, like hi, people would write it like in one can write it in so many ways: HAI high, or HYE high, or HI exclamation mark, or HI question mark. So that was an interesting takeaway for us, that if you leave a open-ended chat, then it's gonna be like very very hard for users to type, especially if your audience is young girls. They type very differently, every person types very differently, and B, it's gonna be hard for them to type those questions or even understand what to type. So, for example, if a young girl like me would want to ask Raji about something about sanitary products, I might not know how to type it. So I might not know how to phrase my question for the bot to respond. And to make it easier, to make it more understandable, and to make the process easier, we introduced a button based approach, which is more guided. And then we realized that, the conversations were very long and people seemed to stop at one point. So then we started adding videos and texts and GIFs. So the conversations become more easier and fun. And then we started taking this to obviously different schools, and it was like a really fun and a great learning experience. I might be able to share a little bit of instance with you of the chatbot, so you can have a look. Just a second. So this is the chatbot, and this is Raji, and you can say, "Let's talk," and then she would like.
My name is Raji, and I'm very happy to meet you.
She would give
I
pictures
have
and
knowledge about the
videos.
female body and its health systems. Should I in the female body, there is a system called reproductive health system.
So this is kind of
because of that,
fun. This has been the
process
most
called
fun
menstruation.
project I worked on, and recently I'm studying. So I created this small project that I want to pursue as a startup, where people can understand their risk to getting an infectious disease and how they can find hospitals and labs to kind of tackle those diseases. And when I was working in Pakistan on that project, we could just map, like put all the hospitals and labs on a map and allow people to just find them on the basis of their location. But when I came here, I realized that here the health system is much more complicated, because obviously then you have insurance plans, and then it's kind of a different way that things work. So we're using NLP to parse insurance plans. So if I'm a USC student, I have a USC insurance plan, and if a student in USC has a plan insurance activated, they could just put their insurance plan on our application, and the application would parse it for you and make you understand what facilities do you have on your plan and who are the providers you could go to. So it's easier, especially for international students, to find healthcare access. So these are some of the projects that I've been working on, and yeah.
Nice. That's really cool. I think we can implement that in Indonesia, right? By day, especially with this COVID thing, make it fun for people to, be aware of the COVID.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. We don't have
Right?
testing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's always like really, really scary stuff, right? People don't listen to them, right? They want to listen to something funny, right? How about you,
To
Mbak Happy?
distract
Do
it
you
from
use
the
a lot of
panic.
right? Mbak Happy, do you use a lot of NLP in your either with your gaming developer or with Gojek? That you can share with us?
Okay, there's not a lot in gaming development, but I can share a bit in Gojek. So to give you benefit of the doubt, if you don't know Gojek yet, so it's basically a marketplace where customers and drivers meet. So there's a lot of services where like transport and food deliveries or like logistics. So one of our core product is transport. So basically you can choose to book a motorcycle or a car, basically, right? So there's this problem where we encounter that if you are to book somewhere within a very large place, let's say a mall, or like maybe in Jakarta, there's a Grand Indonesia Mall. It's like very huge, right? So you can have like different gates with like a kilometer in between. So let's say your driver want to find you, and oh man, how do I find that person, right? So it's like it's kind of confusing. At that time, the solution was to chat between the driver and customer, and it's not very effective and efficient, right? So you need to chat back and forth while the driver is still driving, which is very dangerous, right? So it takes time for them to reply, and it's dangerous for the driver as well, and the customer is anxious. Where is my driver at? So there's an initiative where Gojek team built a POI project where they built some kind of like tagging for each big big places, just like malls, like where are the gates, where people are used to booking their transport. But then it was using some kind of like frequent approach, right? So we just count like which gates like people encounter the most, like which gates are frequent to be booked, right? But it's not so much scalable, right? Like if you are to open another branch of Gojek in a new city, then we need to do all of this thing like from the start line, and it needs human intervention. So that's when NLP team work on this one. So the project is called Great Naming Project. That's basically they do a lot of like working from chat. So let's say there's a new place in town and you don't know it, like there's no tagging, no gates whatsoever. So they will dig into the chat of the customer and driver with all of the sensitive and personal information redacted. They will basically use the technical stuff is like we use Albert on this, like that's built on top of BERT as well. So the project, the team at that time built CartoBERT, the name that is built on top of Albert back then. So they use CartoBERT to do the name entity recognition from the chat. So the output of the project is to make some kind of like new points of POI or place of interest when user is booking in a new place based on chat history of other people as well. So yeah, that's it basically. So if the place is very new, you will not get any like suggestion where you can book it. But if it's like 5 days or like a lot of bookings has been conducted, the chatbot will create some kind of suggestion for you based on the model. So the business impact here, you can see here that there's a lot of new POI being generated without any human intervention right now, just because of the new model being created. And it also got very high accuracy as well, because it's built on top of Albert and made also another model, CartoBERT in here. And also the customers can pick which gates or POI, place of interest, to be in, and of course eliminating back and forth communication with drivers. And also this will save up time for drivers to pick up, hassle-free pickup journey for both. So this will make the drivers able to get more bookings in a day, and also users are able to be picked up faster, making less anxious journey as well. And one of other projects that I also want to mention, as Jaya also mentioned about chat, there's a lot of chat experiences within Gojek as well. There's not only in transport, but also in food. If you haven't booked any transport, you can also see in food delivery, right? There's also like a template within the chat room where you can ask like, where are you right now? Like, can I order as in application? Just like driver asked, like, can you just put the food in the gates of in front of my home? Some requests like that. But we, the Gojek team at that time focuses a lot on transport delivery, but because as I've mentioned that time, it was very, very dangerous for drivers, especially to do chats while driving. So there's an initiative where the chat team making suggestion for both drivers and for also customers to create some kind of like suggestion and templates. So you can just click the button, like there's a button like, hey, where are you? Like, oh, I'm in front of your home. So the suggestions are also created on top of the CartoBERT that's built previously from the Great Naming project that I've mentioned as well. And the thought was as well, like not only because of the reckless, not reckless, because of the dangerous driving made by driver, but also there's a lot of chats between drivers and customers made daily, like millions of chats. So we figured that if we could make some kind of hassle-free delivery, hassle-free transport booking, it will make people are enjoyable. Like they will have like very simple and faster booking within transport, right? So the inputs are back then was the locations. Like let's say you are picked up in your home or in a mall, in an apartment. So the suggestion will be a bit different. So let's say if you're in a apartment, let's say you will be picked up in front of the lobby inside of your gate of the home, let's say. And then if the status of the driver is already on the pickup place, we can make a suggestion that I'm already in front of your house within the chat room. Like you can just click it without any typing, or I'm already at the pickup point. So the model will suggest the chat template based on your location, based on who you are as your driver or customer, and as well as the status of the order right now. Is it the driver is just starting to pick up your order, like still far away from your place, or the driver is en route to your place, or the driver is near your place. So the impact for business at that time was basically people feel much more relief, you can say, when they can control things. Like customers always has this as you want to control things like where are you at, like can you pick me up faster. So in this position they can somehow has a control over their destination through chatting with their drivers without making a dangerous journey with the driver itself. And the driver also understand this point of view while riding and having taking time to reply just by clicking the button. So this result will have the pickup experience for both parties faster instead of slower, yeah, for back and forth chat. And also, yeah, basically lots of lower miscommunication between driver and customer just because of the customer thinks that the driver reply are very slow just because they are driving, right? Yeah, that's
Nice.
I can say.
Oh, that must be a really handful project, right? Being able to do that for scale, like for thousands and thousands of drivers and transactions every single day. That's headache.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like the your I like there's a one word that you say that the business impact, right? I think we all the people impatient in data, AI, and analytics, right? Sometimes we are really get caught up in all the technical things, and sometimes we forget that we have to make the business goals met, right? We have to solve the business problem or whatever or social problem that we want to solve instead of just dwelling in the technical jargon or technical traps, right? Which okay, I guess it's a segue for me to ask, like, do you guys think doing a master's degree, like Jaya, you just finished your master's, right? And I know I'm happy also you have your graduate degree. Do you think that necessarily for people that want to do, because this get asked a lot in our community, right? Or do I have to get a master's degree in AI or in data science or in math or something to be able to work in data? Maybe we start with Rafi, the girl with the educations.
So I don't have a master's degree. I've been,
Yeah.
cobbling together. So I did a few modules in my bachelor's on AI and NLP, and then I cobbled together the rest of it using online courses. But I think I would like to formalize the education just because, uh, one would definitely uh, it gives a bit more authority to your profile when you want to, yeah, pursue maybe more imaginative projects. And also, I think the peer, so what I learned a lot from university was through my projects, and that was usually through collaborating with my peers and then in university. So that's another benefit I would add to pursuing a more advanced degree. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. How about you, Jaya? You just finished your. Oh, did you just finish? Or are you still in the graduate programs?
I'm just 1 year through. I still have 1 year
Okay.
to.
Yeah. How do you like it so far? I mean, do you think it really helped you in a way that you thought it's going to be, or even more?
So, yeah, just like Ravi mentioned, I mean, there are so many online courses and there are projects that we work on to get more understanding of our interest. But I feel like having a master's degree allows you to be more focused and be more aligned with what you want to do, and it gives you more room to explore. For example, if I after my bachelor's, I have like much more area to discover, and I would always want to discover new projects. But if I find something that interests me and I ground myself to, get more focused understanding and project and learning about it, it's going to allow me to be more, not only be better at performing, but also add credibility to my profile and be more focused on what I want to do. And obviously, in a single field, if you want to concentrate on, has also a lot of umbrellas. So having that authority to explore them is very beneficial. And obviously that when you're in a school, in a university, there's a lot of exchange of learning of people from different backgrounds, which also happens in a work environment. But I feel like it's more fast tracked, and it's more like you're learning about yourself, you're learning about others, you're learning about your field, you're learning about the advancements. There's a lot of room for experimentation, which you don't have when you're working. So that's a good experience, I would say. But obviously it depends from person to person. For me, I think it's a very good experience because I get to explore and experiment, and also it adds a lot to my profile. So yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So, Happy, maybe if you can chime in real quick, because we do actually already have few questions in the Slido. So we want to go to the next segment. But maybe by Happy, if you have anything to add, do you think I mean, like Jaya mentioned before, right? And what people been asking us too, right? Why should I go to a graduate degree if I can just take online courses and do some projects, right? So, do you think the master's degree still carry, or even PhD still carry out a lot of weights, or what do you think?
Okay, so for those people who wants to take online courses instead of a master's degree, I think it's okay to think that way. So at first, I also think that don't rush basically from your bachelor degree to master's degree, because I think you need to take a bit of time on what your interest want to be in the future, right? So if you want to focus a lot on projects, I think you can just go to online courses. But I think you will figure out that there's a lot of challenges that you don't understand yet. Like there's a lot of areas that you need to explore further, and that's where you can find a lot of these things in master's degree or a PhD, because they can delve a lot deeper with professors, so they can help you much better on that, and they can also help you with the papers and so on and so forth. Basically connections, and yeah, basically making a lot of things if you want to pursue those like technical and stuff. And I think you can think about master's degrees. So let's just try like taking online courses and see what you want to be in. Like after that, like do you want to focus on professional journey, or like do you want to dig deeper about the technical itself, technicality? Mm-hmm.
Nice, nice. Okay, I think that's really, really nice answers from all of you guys. Let's conclude our second segment. So we're going to go to our third segment, which is Q&A from the people that are watching. Let me
Yeah,
share my screen.
we have questions from Slido.
Yeah, let me share.
Excited.
Yeah, cool. Yeah,
Interesting.
it's you or me who should share the screen, Mas Ricky.
I'll share it.
Okay, thank you.
Can you see
Well,
it?
regarding, yeah, cool. But yeah,
Okay, maybe I'll read it. Maybe the first one. What can you guys see the questions?
It's a little blurry.
A
If you
little,
could zoom,
little what?
it's a little
Oh
blurry.
yeah,
Can you zoom?
yeah, sure.
you can zoom out, Mas Ricky, maybe, or zoom in.
Uh,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. That. How do I zoom? Do you want to share, Ade?
Okay. Let
Let
me try
me.
to share the Slido.
Yeah.
Okay. How about this? Is it big enough for you?
Yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
better.
So okay, let's run through from the first. Okay, what urgent improvements can be done in the state of NLP today that you think can improve our lives? Maybe this is the question for three of the speakers. So can we start from, I don't know, who's gonna talk first?
Oh,
Yeah, maybe Jaya, you want to start? What do
Sure.
you
So
think the
from what
improvement
I
can be done?
understand from the question is what urgent improvements can be done in the state of NLP today that you can think improve our life.
Right.
Um, um, I think it's already on the go, like Alexa and Google Assistant, and these personal assistants that help you talk or organize your work, organize your tasks, organize your daily day, which is quite. I think it's already in the go. Uh, I mean, if a bot can control all your daily activities, that is gonna improve your life a lot. Yeah, I think maybe this is how I understand the question. Am I right?
Yeah, I think so. Do you have anything to add, Rafi?
Maybe
oh,
from education perspective?
yeah. Um, so for me, NLP is something that can be used to just model success related to any human language communication, and then we can analyze what went right, what went wrong. And I think for me personally, I so there's two ways this question can be answered. It's like what advancements in NLP and how NLP can be implemented within NLP. I think we should do something about combating maybe models learning biases that exist in a lot of the data. So I was seeing this model that there's a popular AI based game online that's called AI Dungeon 2, and I play it quite a bit. And it has vastly different responses depending on what gender the user is. And for the if you play as a female, your stories can be have a lot of sexist undertones they found.
Ah,
So yeah, something I would like to combat is the bias in data for NLP. Then implementing NLP to make our life better, I think in education would be it's definitely where I would go because everyone goes through the education system, and I think it would have the biggest impact in that industry.
Nice.
okay. Maybe do you have something to add, Mbak Happy? Maybe from business perspective?
Yeah, I think as for now, for Indonesian language, there's also already bird, right? So I think we can safely use bird. So I think the goal for NLP is more towards the implementation itself. Like we can see during COVID-19, there's a lot of news lately that's going on, and there's a lot of things that we cannot like filter out like which one is hoax, which one is true. I think it's better that we can focus those NLP implementation on that, especially in Indonesia. Like there's a lot of hoax chats like being forwarded into WhatsApp, right? Like it's dangerous. Like yeah, I think that's one of the things that we can focus on.
Mm.
Oh, I have something to add. And now that I understand the question better, and it's just like Happy mentioned about COVID, uh, I feel like there was this startup that used news media and communication between people, like on satellite, that the data that they could collect to predict the spread of COVID way before it was actually spread. And it actually uh, Blue Dot, and it actually alerted people, and some governments worked with them to kind of implement better policies to not let it spread. So, something for pandemics and something for diseases, like if you can use news and data going around of communication to kind of understand what is coming and alert people and make them more responsible, that is something that can improve lives. Like we just saw what happened with the world for the last year. So that's something that's interesting that it just hit me.
Nice. Blue Dot, you said? Blue Dot?
Yes, it's Blue Dot. They're from Canada, and I think they
Okay.
work with South Korean government or Indonesian government to help them control COVID spread
Oh, okay.
because they alerted them like ahead of time.
Nice. Okay. So
Okay.
let me read
I hope
the
that
next. Do you
answers.
want to read? Sure. Do you want to read the
Okay.
next question, Bade?
You can read the next question, Mas Vicky.
Sure.
Pick one.
What is the state of gender diversity in your current workplace or school? Do you have any concerns? What do you think should be done to improve the conditions? Wow, talking about heavy stuff, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe by Happy, you want to start?
Okay,
Since
so
probably you.
Have experienced many things, bumping in the middle of meeting.
yeah, related to the woman being seen during like pumping scene on meetings. Yeah, I think it's not about the workplace itself. It's more towards the people around us that's not being educated yet. Like it's not how can I say it? Yeah, um, it's not educated like at first. Like it's not like being intentionally taught at first by company, but now as of like lots of women join forces and they come back after having labor, so they think more about it. Like so as part of that, like we can also create some kind of initiations where we can also educate people around us. Like it doesn't have to be like very true. Like you can just like this is normal. Like you can say that to not normalize people around you, and you can also join forces with company teams as well. Like there's also a team within the company where they focus a lot on these issues about gender diversity. So yeah, I think if there's no initiative within your company right now, you can start with your own. Like just start focus around your environment right now. But if you think it's much higher, like you think that you need help, I think you can just reach your company about this one at first. And if it also much better if they also create some kind of initiations about this
issue.
Sorry to interrupt. But Happy, do you think that's that bias, right? Have a lot of, like you mentioned before, because a lot of people still uneducated. Do you think the culture also play a big role in it? Like
That woman should
because
stay at home.
yeah, or a woman like being viewed differently because I feel like the education is out there already. Just feel like some people are just too stubborn to actually read the educations, understand what the educations or woman or the minority trying to say, right?
Yep, yep.
Right, because they just grew up like that, right? And some people just refuse to change just because, oh, this is how it's always been done, right? So I was fortunate enough to grow up in States. I spent 14 years in the probably more Democrat states, in Massachusetts, in Boston for 10 years, and in New York for 4 years. So I have a different perspective and view when I come back. But I think I can understand it's really hard to educate. I'm not saying that we shouldn't do it, but I just feel like it's really hard to educate when you have to go again uphill about culture and how the society been doing things for ages, right? So I don't know from Jaya or Mbak Happy or maybe Rafi or Mbak Ade, how do you guys? I think this is related to the previous questions, right? Do you have an idea? How do we have to educate? How do we make these educations could get crossed through without offending people from the culture, right? From the culture side. You understand what I'm trying to say,
I see, I see, I see.
right?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's kind of hard where if you know the person personally, I think it's easier to tell them the message, right? Like you can just try to normalize the situations, but it will be very hard if you meet strangers in this case. Like I also encountered one of these cases where I already go to pumping room, but some people just go there just to smoke, and that's not nice. And that's not nice. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I know
yeah.
Jaya, right? I saw Jaya's face. Was like, what?
That's
Yeah,
I know. That's
yeah. So
really
even yeah, we even have to
right.
ask to install some kind of like added lock to we can lock from inside, so people cannot go in. Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
assuming the one that's smoking is guys.
No, I mean within the same company, right? So we don't know each other. Like
No, I
it's
know, but they were right. But the one that's smoking in the pumping room are male or female?
male.
Oh,
Male, right?
no.
So they weren't
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah,
be in there in the first place, right?
yeah. Or
I mean, nevertheless, smoking, like you weren't even supposed to be here. If you can read, there's a pumping room that's someplace that you
Are
shouldn't be
you
there.
are you pumping? No, then you're not allowed.
yeah, yeah. It's kind
But
of hard
that
because
but
maybe
that's
it's
but that's my point exactly, by Happy, because I don't feel like I mean, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's only a matter of education. Of course, we have to keep on educating people like, hey, this is how it's supposed to be, but when we go against the cultural and they just don't want to listen to the education. So it's gonna be, I think the battle is kind of twice as hard, right? I mean,
That's
kudos
called
to all you
ignorance.
guys. Exactly,
Isn't that called
ignorance.
ignorance? When you
Exactly.
are educated and refuse to listen to the rules, right? That's just called ignorance, plainly ignorance.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we've been getting a lot more questions. Maybe we should go something more technical. Is that
Okay,
okay?
so can we say that this question is answered?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Or unless you guys wanna add something else.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
could take
yeah.
up more questions instead. I was
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So this from Irwan, could you give me suggestion what is the best path to learn NLP from beginner to expert? Like where should I start? Because NLP is growing rapidly.
Good question.
Yeah. Who want to take this?
I could go since, yeah, I had to go through this journey. But
Okay.
for me, it depends on your learning style. I really learn a lot from projects, and I've already been contributing to the open source community. So I started out looking at issues in a few NLP based GitHub projects. Then I look at an issue, and then based on that issue, I try to search the internet for any course or article or tutorial that can lead me to the path of solving that issue. And in the worst case, I could message the GitHub contributors. It's not the most formal method. More formal methods would be, starting on the online course and then doing the capstone project. So one that I really enjoyed was the NLP series by Rise on Coursera, which I had to do after realizing I hit a plateau and this method can't take me further. Yeah. So because it's not just about being able to solve very specific methods that you see, very specific issues, but it's also to allow yourself to be able to be creative in this space. You have to expose yourself to things that you don't even know or can't even think about with your current position. Yeah. So yeah, the online course platforms I used were found very useful were Udemy, Coursera, and you can just search beginner courses. That was my perspective. I'm curious how others would advise. Yeah.
I like how you mentioned about the project contributions, but I have a comment on the question. Beginner to expert, I just feel like you cannot be an expert in a field that's growing so fast because you just mentioned that it's growing rapidly, but you want to be an expert. So
Yeah.
I would never say that I'm an expert. Like not like I don't know about the future, but I know like at this point, even though I've been trying to study this field for like the last 3 years, but I wouldn't say I'm an expert. So you could be good at it, and I would add to Ravi's methods, like the two things that he said were great, like the project contributions and online courses and reading documentations. So I like if I see an NLP library, because I know like there are two things about a technology: the theoretical side of it and the practical side of it. The theoretical side comes with the courses, but the practical side comes with getting to know the platform. So if I see a new library and I know that I want to implement it, I just go through their documentation and I will see like a project that is implementing that library and I would just try to replicate it. So that is how I try to accelerate my learning. Yeah.
Nice, thank you. How often do you update your models? What is the considerations?
Happy can answer that.
Maybe, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
Happy, can you answer? Like, if you can, how often do
Yeah.
you update your models in your job?
I see. It's very different, yeah. If I said about the Go Chat team, like about the chatting engine, like about the new POI, it run real time, right? So it is always being updated based on the chat input because there's millions of data within a day. But if let's say you're trying to update your user profile, it can only conduct it like weekly or monthly. So basically, it's just about how the data evolves, like and do your purpose needs to be updated like very frequently. Like if the case is in the business side, like the POI that I mentioned, that you need like accuracy needs to be developed over time, then you need to update it like very frequent. But if you don't need it like that much frequent, like just like user profile, because it doesn't tend to change a lot like within a week or a month, then it's safe to update it within a month.
I see. I think the next question is kind of tied up to it, right? There are new terms like ML that maybe you meant MLOps, right? MLOps. So does Gojek have implemented MLOps? No? Happy?
Sorry, what did you say?
So the next question was, there are new terms like ML DevOps. I think what they meant is ML Ops.
Oh.
Have you heard about ML Ops? Right. So
Yep.
that's what something that I realized too in my company. Creating the models is probably just take 20% of the time, right? But 80% of it is into the production, just like you mentioned, right? After you create the model, we have to deploy it, we have to monitor it, we have to optimize it, right? That's what they call MLOps. So how does Gojek do MLOps maybe?
So basically, there's a different team specifically to do that. So there's the data science team, and then there's also the data science platform team to focus on the ML DevOps. So they focus a lot on deployment, and even for the data scientists, let's say they want to add features within the library, and you can share your features to other teams. You can also get those. So there's a lot of tools that we create internally that I unfortunately cannot share you yet about this one, but those teams are focusing a lot on making internal tools to make those ML operations to be done like very smoothly.
Okay. Hope that answers. You have something to add, Rafi?
Oh yeah, my startup is in the middle of
Do you
this
want to
right
add
now.
maybe Ravi and Jaya?
No, I don't. I haven't had that level of experience.
Opportunity.
My startup is in the middle of this right now. We're trying to make the ML DevOps less hacked together. So we are trying out AWS SageMaker. Yeah, so that we can have the model versioning, data versioning, then easy rollbacks and the API production, stable endpoints, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's my company also starting to do a production, right? So it's really exciting, but it's also in the same time it's really painful to monitor the
challenging, of
model
course.
to make sure, and challenging. Yes, of course. Okay. So the next, I think this is more into NLP stuff, right? I think we can practice two together, right? For those whose native language is not English, how do you find the data set for your model? Also, how do you deal with slang languages? Maybe Jaya and Rafi, the one that more into NLP, could chip in into this.
Sure. Yeah. About the data sets in different languages, that's very tricky. So I've seen a lot of models. They sometimes do support other languages. They sometimes don't. And when they so you have to most of the times build your own data sets. So in an AI project or a data science project, 80% of the work is getting and cleaning and making the data to for the model to understand, and then you have to implement the model. If you don't have the data, the model is useless. So it's a little bit of a, I would say, sometimes manual, sometimes extended, sometimes it's very it's something that you have to go through, and a little bit painful as well. Can be done through web scraping or actual data collection through forms, through Google Forms, or talking to people, or getting a lot of conversations. So, for example, when we had to implement the chatbot in Urdu, the first question was, does the Dialogflow support Urdu? No, it doesn't. So we thought that we'd go in Roman Urdu. And for Roman Urdu, we didn't have a data set. So we actually ran like a 4 month just a chat application where one of our volunteers would talk to a person, and they in Roman Urdu. So we collected that data for 4 to 5 months. Like, it was a very long period of time, and most of that data wouldn't be useful as well. And then we took that data and took like the right features out of it and created a model on basis of that. So it's gonna be a long, painful process. But if you get the data in your language, the specific data that you want for your model, then that's the best thing.
Have you ever done deal with slang language?
Uh, well, we had a lot of problem with that as well. So we had to, put in all the possible slang language words in our model and just train it on it. but at the same time, it's something that we would collect, and then we would assess at the end of like a month how much was it right and how many times it failed and why it failed, what were the words, and we would retrain the model. So it's like a loop process that we would work on.
Sure. Yes, Rafi.
Oh, luckily, I haven't had to deal with slang yet because students will be penalized. But I was why, yeah, this is a challenge we'll have to look at because if we go to India, there's some grammar structures that would be accepted there in English that won't be accepted here, even in formal education. So I'm just, yeah, have to deal with that when it comes to it.
Right. That's the challenging part, right? I think that's the part of the previous questions. But being expert is when you can translate those slang language easily, right? Okay, so somebody have an idea before to translate the language to English before translating it back to the language to support best performance. Do you think it's a good idea? I don't quite understand. Do you understand?
I think it's
Maybe
to
what
solve the
yeah, I mean, because the library in NLP is mostly in English, they are trying to translate the language first to English, then using NLP. I think that's the question. And the anonymous asking whether is it a good idea or not? Maybe.
It is a
Maybe
good
that's
idea. But then you have to build your translator as well, because Google Translator has, like, you have to call that, and then, if you have a limit of translate requests, and then you can't exceed those, so you have to build your own translator.
I see. It is a good idea, but still, you still have to do an effort, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right, I think this is the last questions. What is your daily task? Interesting. I don't know who want to start. But Happy, you wanna take this one? What is your daily task?
Okay, that's very okay. That's very different day to day. Yeah. So I organize my days into like series of collections of meetings, basically because there's a lot of meetings each day. So on Monday, I mostly focusing a lot on planning. So let's say if we have this sprint weekly, right? So we focus a lot on sprint review and what we are going to do on that week. And also on Tuesday and Wednesday, there's a lot of stakeholders meetings, like team sync meetings, where we basically collect another requirements, or also we present our insights to them within that days. And also if there's any new features or anything that we need to understand, we basically connect with them during Tuesday and Wednesday. And on Thursdays, there's a lot of one-on-ones with my teams as well, or with my managers too. So I can understand what are their blockers, let's say, or what are their inspirations, or what their career path want to be. So I can help them with that. And for Friday, it's mostly my deep work day. So if there's anything that I cannot finish within Monday to Thursday, I can focus a lot on Friday, where there's not a lot of meeting on that day. But yeah, basically out of that organization from Monday to Friday, there's a lot of things where it's different day to day. Sometimes you focus a lot on data pipelining, like from back end to data analysts and data scientists and to stakeholders. Sometimes that you are focusing a lot on making reports and insights, and sometimes are those days where you brainstorm on making a new model, and how you productionize it, and what's the problem set, and what's your purpose on building that model.
Okay.
Right.
How about you, Jaya? You have any specific daily task as
Study.
of now? Right.
Yes, like most of my time goes in studies because obviously graduate degree has a lot of workload, and I try to read one paper a day or one article a day that is related to my work to keep updated and to keep, updated with what's happening and to have like more ideas flowing in. So that is one thing that I make sure that I do, like just read an article of 2 pages, like what's in the research, or like just go on Medium and read like an article or like a code or like a paper, a small paper. For a big paper I need 2 days. So yeah, I mean
Nice.
that's basically what I do. Rest is just most of the times working on projects, speaking to professors, etc.
Yeah. How about you, Rafi?
Yeah, right now my startups project is divided into 3 parts: the data analytics, software engineering, and machine learning teams. So we have separate sprints for each of the three, and if it's towards the end of the sprint, I'm reviewing pull requests and QAing. And or troubleshooting, and if it's towards the start of the sprint, sorry, I said that backwards, but yeah, if that's towards the end, and if it's towards the start of the sprint, I'm either contributing directly through code or through model design, and also we block out some days for brainstorming sessions. Yeah, whether it's tech or product vision, or whether we're doing things technically the most efficient or proper way. Yeah.
Okay.
Seems we have another question.
Oh man, should we take this? I think
Okay.
we only have like we only have a minute. Maybe if you can, somebody can take this real quick.
Okay.
Do you guys think the transformer-based model have already set the standard NLP model for business? Do you get by happy? Do you know anything about this?
Currently we focus a lot using BERT. So that's what I can say.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the models
Yeah.
right now built on top of BERT in NLP, like just go chat did, and also the place of interest did. So we also built the BERT on top of, so we use Albert that's built on top of BERT, and also the team also made another BERT like using that Albert, making the Carpo BERT.
Okay. Okay. I hope that answers. So again, thank you so much, Rafi, Jaya, Happy, Ade, for setting aside time, sharing your knowledge, your experience in Jakarta Machine Learning. Now it's time, I think, we're going to close this segment. And we're going to invite Jia back to the stage with some announcement from Google Developer Space Singapore. So thank you guys. Thank you again, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, Ade. That was a really interesting discussion. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us, Ravi, Jaya, and Happy as well. We hope everyone who joined us took away some great insights on how you can use NLP for your business and social impact. And so just a quick announcement. Google for Startups Accelerator, we recently opened applications, and we are looking for Indonesian startups from seed to Series A. And applications are actually closing tomorrow. So if you know of anyone, entrepreneurs who have just started their business and are looking to accelerate their startup, do share this news with them. The link is g.co/accelerator Indonesia. And After this session, we also have another session, and same thing as well. Both will be women speakers, and it's organized by Women Who Code Kuala Lumpur. So if you can do join us, it will be happening 20 minutes later.
Okay.
Over to you.
Okay. Nice. Do you want to unshare the slides first? Yeah,
Okay,
please.
sure.
Okay. Sure. Okay. Okay. Thank you for the announcement, Jia. I hope somebody gonna submit for the Google Accelerator. So here we are at the end of the session. Thank you again to Google Developer Space, especially Jia, who made this session possible. It's kudos to you. And thank you again to Jaya, Ravi, and Happy, who has setting aside their time and have shared their experience and journey in data and how NLP was used to make an impact both in industry and social environments plus educational. So, well, thank you to you too, the audience, for joining in. We hope that this session has encouraged you to make an impact and has brought new spirit in your journey in data. So that's the first session on International Women's Day series talk, and see you in the next talk. Bye.
Bye.